What are the top 5 items that you should consider before turning your home into a rental property? Hey everyone, my name is Jonathan Sempsrott. I'm with Keyrenter Property Management, located here in beautiful Austin, Texas. I hope you're doing well today. That question is one that gets asked of us and our team almost on a daily basis, and I wanted to give you these top 5 tips that I think will set you on a path for success as you consider this possibility for yourself. Number 1, and this may seem obvious to some, but I'm going to say it because it definitely matters. Consider your long-term investment strategies, both in real estate as well as outside of real estate. Certainly consult with your financial advisors and professionals that you use for those purposes. But first and foremost, again, think through whether it makes sense for you financially. Typically, we advise clients to not turn their home into a rental property if they're planning for leasing it out for less than 2 years. There are always setup costs involved in transforming a home from a primary residence into one that you would rent out to the public. And so those costs need to be factored in. And if you're planning to rent it out for, say, 6 months or a year at max, it typically doesn't make a whole lot of sense, in some cases at least. So consider that financial timeline, the amount of rent you're going to be getting back in from the property and things of that nature to make sure that it fits within your long-term investment strategy. Number 2, mentally prep the home and yourself for the fact that you are now running a small business. Many folks do not think of this when it comes to renting a home out. They think they'll sign a lease and kind of move on down the path, and they don't pause and think that they are actually now a small business owner. And so I would encourage you, as you're considering this, to emotionally detach from the property, especially if it's one that you have lived in personally in the past. This is especially tough for folks. So I would certainly advise and counsel you to look at the home and the prospect of renting this home out through that lens of the fact that you're running a small business, and look at things from an economic perspective and see what makes sense versus what does not make sense. Number 3, make the home appeal to the widest audience possible. This is one that frequently gets overlooked by folks, but when you're marketing a property to a wide audience, you want to make sure that the home is well kept, of course, it's clean, it's well maintained, everything in the home functionally works. But again, make sure that things are not super specific to you and your taste, your design preferences, things of that nature. That would typically mean things like paint colors, for example, maybe certain fabrics or curtains that you've put up that maybe look beautiful with your decor, your aesthetic that you've designed for the property, but it might not appeal to an extremely wide swath of folks that are shopping for properties, particularly when they're comparing your home versus other homes in the neighborhood. You want to make sure that your home is presented in such a way that it is neutral and widely appealing to a very wide audience. Again, this really matters when you're thinking about marketing your home to the public. Even things that you might not think about, like electronic devices or smart devices, let's say, that are in the home. Smart doorbells, different apps that control blinds and the way they function, or lighting and the way that it functions. Those things are often amazing to have for you as a personal homeowner that lives in the home. But when you're handing that over to another party to come in and live in the property, those things can actually be a detractor, believe it or not, because it presents something that someone is sort of forced to use from a technology perspective, and they might not be as technology savvy to use those items. And so those things can honestly be kind of a weight or a burden on the tenant that they're really not wanting to do. Something might make tons of sense for you as the owner that lives there, but for someone else, again, a wider audience, it might not make as much sense. Number 4, this is exterior items and landscaping. This really matters when you're presenting the home, again, to a wide market, particularly curb appeal on the front of the home. Backyards, rear areas of the home, backyards don't really matter quite as much. They still matter, but they're not quite as in focus. But specifically driveways, the way trees are trimmed in the front, the entry to the home, how that's presented, making sure that it's clean, again, well manicured. Those things really matter when you want to attract that top quality tenant for the property. And so curb appeal certainly matters for sure. Number 5, pricing the home correctly. I'll end with this one because it is so important. Perhaps one of the most important that I've mentioned so far. Price matters. And you guys know this when you're shopping for a property to purchase a home, or really anything for that matter. we all consider the price, typically in most cases. So this definitely matters, specifically when you are competing with other homes in a neighborhood. There's quite a bit of inventory, which there is right now as I'm recording this video here in December of 2024, but certainly check with your local professional and figure out what kind of inventory you're competing with. But certainly you do not want to be the highest price home in the neighborhood, because what that's going to do is lead to extra vacancy time where your home is sitting empty, not producing income for anyone. And so you definitely want to avoid that. That's one of your biggest sort of detractors from a financial perspective, is that vacancy period. We call it in our company kind of the silent killer of rental prosperity, so to speak. So definitely look to minimize that vacancy time and pricing the home correctly. That's really going to matter. In some cases, you might even slightly undercut the market a little bit to get someone into the home even faster. That's often well advised. Holding the home vacant for 30 days, 60 days, trying to hold out for a $50 or $100 extra rent price oftentimes is quickly eaten up by that vacancy time. And you'd be better off just to get the home filled, producing income quicker, and take a little bit lower rent price. You come out ahead as the investor. So definitely would encourage you to consider those items. Hopefully you found those helpful. If so, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. We'd love to chat with any of you that have questions about these topics or others in the rental space. We're passionate about real estate and we love what we do. So thanks so much for listening. Have a great day.